Good morning to you all. Knowing fully well that to introduce Vidwan Dr. HVNRao is a daunting task. I readily agreed to do the office. Our president asked me to do it. Needless to say, it is an honor and privilege to introduce this extraordinary scholar to an audience such as this. First of all, let us see how distinguished writers and scholars Dr. Nagaraja Rao, Dr. S.L. Bhairappa says, he taught me systematically Sanskrit grammar, the Upanishads, and Kalidasa's Meghadutam. I consult him even today for the exact information regarding Sanskrit texts. He had transformed the Sanskrit language into a contemporary idiom with his association with Sudharma paper for the past several decades. That's why I was particular that he alone should translate my novel Sartha into Sanskrit. This is Dr. Bhairappa. By the way, this translation of Bhairappa's novel Sartha won the Central Sahitya Academy Award in 2006. Dr. T.V. Venkatachala Shastri, about HVN. He is a cultural ambassador of India who is working tirelessly in disseminating Bharatiya goods, the quintessential messages of Kavya, Purana, and so on. His longtime colleague and fellow scholar, Dr. T.V. Satyanarayana says, the distinguished scholars of foreign countries have been overawed by his scholarship, invariably consult him. Along with languages, he is well aware of even science and allied subjects. God has given him the gift of tremendous memory. He describes things picturesquely. He teaches in a very attractive manner. Nadoja Dr. Hampa Nagaraja's opinion about Dr. HVN. He knows the significant epics by heart. He is a multifaceted scholar. Who has an inwardness to Kavya Shastra. He is a rare scholar who mingles even with the uninitiated and reveals the depth of his intellect only among his peers. I can go on like this, but time is the constraint. Vidwan Dr. Nagaraja Rao was born in 1942 in a village called Somenahalli, which belongs to Gudibande Taluk, now Chikkabalabur district. His father, Venkatanarayana Satyalakshmamma. He lost his father when he was just 3 years old, stood first in his school in the SSLC examination. He stood first with a gold medal in 1964 in the Vak Pratiyogita examination held at Varanasi and Delhi. He passed with distinction in the Alankara Shastra Vidvat examination. He did his MA in Asian Languages and Literature from Washington University, Seattle, between 1971 and 73. Joined the famed Oriental Research Institute, Mysore in 1973. He got the first rank in MA in Sanskrit from the University of Mysore in 1982. He was the visiting professor in Chicago University in 1995. He was honored with Chicago University in 1995. He was honored with Vyasa Maharshi Award from the state of Haryana in 1997. In 2003, he was the fellow in Hebrew University, Israel. In 2010, he was honored with the Tumkur University awarded him the D.Litt degree. From 1970 onwards, he has been the editor-in-chief of one and only Sanskrit daily in India, Sudharma. He has been honored with many awards. The important ones are Kavya Shastra Vichakshana, Bharati Tirtha Prashasti from Sringeri Mutt, Asthan Vidwan from Sri Ganapati Sachidananda Shri, Shrestha Acharya from Sri Brahmaramba Sangeeta Vidyalaya, Champakaratna from Champakanatya Academy. Authored nearly 60 books, which include his original Sanskrit works, edited works, translated from works from Sanskrit to Kannada, Kannada to Sanskrit, from English to Kannada, originally in Kannada and English, and from Hindi to Sanskrit as well. In Mysore Mitra is extremely popular. Any town acquires its sheen and shine not because of the number of jewelry shops it boasts of, but definitely because of the redoubtable scholars like Vidwan Dr. HVNRao among scholars in Mysore and Karnataka. Without much ado, I also should mention on this occasion that his wife, Dr. Vatsala, has served as professor of chemistry from Maharanis, Mysore, and daughter Anita. Now, without much ado, I request Dr. HVN to deliver his lecture. Before that, I request our president, my teacher, Professor KCB, to welcome him with a bouquet. Just to mention a couple of titles of his works for the sheer depth and scholarship. Moola Samskrita Granthaಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನ ಸ್ಕಾಲರ್ಶಿಪ್, ಮೂಲ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನ, ಅನ್ಯಾಪದೇಶ ಶತಕಂ, ಆನಂದ ಸಾಗರಸ್ತವ, ಸುಭಾಷಿತ ಕೌಸ್ತುಭ, ಭಲ್ಲಟ ಶತಕಂ, ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಲಹರಿ, ದಶಾವತಾರ ಸ್ತೋತ್ರಂ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಾನುವಾದ, ಅಕ್ಷಾವತಾರ ಸ್ತೋತ್ರಂ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಾನುವಾದ, ಅಕ್ಕಮಹಾದೇವಿ, ಚಾರು ವಸಂತೀಯಂ, ವಚನಂ, ಸಾರ್ಥಃ, ಅಸ್ಮಾಕಂ ಗೃಹಸ್ಯ ದೀಪಃ, ಸುಭಾಷಿತ ಸಂಗ್ರಹಾನುವಾದಗಳು, ಹರಿಭಟ್ಟನ ಸುಭಾಷಿತಗಳು, ಕುಮಾರದಾಸನ ಸುಭಾಷಿತಗಳು, ಸೂಕ್ತಿ ಸಂಗ್ರಹ, ಹಿಂದಿಯಿಂದ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಾನುವಾದ, ವಿಪಂಚಿಕ, ಇತರೆ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಪ್ರವೇಶ, ಗಾಯತ್ರಿ ಭಾಷ್ಯಂ, ಶಾರದಾ ದರ್ಶನಂ. With this, I request Dr. Vidwan HVNRao to deliver the speech or lecture on humor in Sanskrit literature.
My esteemed friend, Dr. Nagana, and very much revered Professor Beliyappa, and all our friends. The introduction was really shocking to me. I did not know I had done so much work. I did not know I had done so much work myself. However, it's really a great opportunity to address you. First of all, we are invited, but we do not find audience. That is the only problem. But today, I am extremely happy that all the seats are occupied.
Sir, that is your power.
And also, षड्दर्शनी परिज्ञान मंडितैरिव पंडितैः स्तंभैः चित्रैर्वितानैश्च सभा नैवावभासते. A hall is not actually respected just because there are big pillars or decorations behind the speaker. It is on account of the presence of great scholars that a sabha becomes a sabha. And that is my great luck. A sabha becomes a sabha. And that is my great luck today to have such an audience. Many of them I had known, I had met a number of times, but to see all of them together is a great blessing of the Lord. That is what I think. Now, coming to the subject, first of all, there is a wrong understanding in the world that Sanskrit literature is limited to various kinds of only descriptions of the nature and women. That is the general understanding. But really speaking, Sanskrit literature is so vast that there is a lot of humor also in that literature right from the beginning, which is considered to be very sacred and holy. We see some of the flashes of humor. In Manduka Sukta, it is said that all the priests in a sacrifice started chanting the mantra in the beginning of the rainy season. This is what we find in the Rig Veda. And therefore, that sense of humor is very much necessary in our life to make it spicy and interesting. First of all, the Adi Kavi, the first poet of Sanskrit, is called the Ramayana, is such an honored text. But there are various situations. Valmiki had a very good sense of humor. It is not only the description of the war with Ravana or the greatness, find various things where he uses the word parihasa. First of all, I should say that Valmiki is describing a very difficult situation when Rama has to leave for the forest according to the wishes of Queen Kaikeyi. At that time, there are many things to be noted here. Before leaving for the forest, Rama distributes all his wealth to the people. He invites so many people. Anybody that is needy could come and receive various kinds of gifts from Rama. And there is a situation that is very much interesting. There is a situation that is very much interesting. Tatrasit pingalo nama trijato nama vaidvijaha kshatavrittir vane nityam phala kuddala langali. So there was a Brahmin called Trijata who was very, very poor. All he had was Kuddala means a sickle and Langala means a plow. Only these things he had. But Kshatavrittihi, he was all lost and therefore he was in great straits to lead his life. And in addition to it, his wife was very young, he was very old. Tam vruddham taruni bharya. And also an adaya darakan, abravit brahmanam vakyam, strinam bhartahi devata. She was facing it very difficulty because to lead the life and to feed all the children, it was a great problem. And therefore, It was a great problem. And therefore, she is telling her husband, this Trijata, why don't you go to Rama? We are hearing that he is distributing so many things to all people. And therefore, this is one of the occasions where we can somehow lead our life. And so, why don't you go? And therefore, as all husbands, he was also obedient and he went to Rama. And by that time, many of the important things had already been distributed. Rama was already getting ready to go to the forest. But anyway, when he came here, this Rama thought of some joke. And therefore, he is saying, Tamuvacha tamo tato ramanitam. Smiling, Rama tells him, Gavam sahasramapyekam nacha vishranitam maya. I have a lot of cows. I have not yet given them over to anybody. That is one chance. And there, you see this sense of... he tells this man, now, you have come with a walking stick. Now, throw that walking stick with all your ability. Here are standing all these cows. To the extent that you can throw the stick, up to that point, how many cows are there? All of them will belong to you. And Valmiki is explaining, he is describing how he got ready, this Brahmin. Sa shatim paritaha katyam sambhrantaha pariveshtyatam. He is taking his cloth and tying it around his waist so that he used. And he is throwing it. And to the surprise of everybody, Satirtva Sarayu Param Dandastasya Karachutaha. That went so far as the Sarayu river. And then Rama says, after all, this was a joke, my friend. Tam Gargyam Abhisantoyan Munyur Nakalu Kartavya. Please don't be angry, my friend. Parihaso Shayam Mama. Only this was a joke. All the cows I have, you can take. Like that. This was the sense of humor that we find even in Valmiki. From the Ramayana. Hanuman, who was a very great scholar, and I am very fond of Hanuman in the Ramayana, even more than Rama, because Hanuman also had studied Sanskrit grammar, just as a grammarian, ahamapi vayakaranaha. And he was a very great grammarian. When Rama first met Hanuman, Hanuman spoke to him in such beautiful Sanskrit. That Rama himself was surprised. And he tells Lakshmana, Nunam vyakaranam kritsnam anena bahudhashrutam bahuvyaharatana bahudhashrutam bahuvyaharatana nakinchidapashabditam. This fellow should have studied grammar very well, because he spoke so much and there was not a single mistake in his speech. And that Hanuman, that great to Lanka in search of Sita, and there first he is investigating in the palace of Ravana. He sees many wives of Ravana, and then finally looks at Mandodari, This Mando Maya, she was extremely beautiful. She was wearing such wonderful jewelry, and her face itself was irradiating with such effulgence that Hanuman thought this should be Sita. This is from the Ramayana. I am not joking. तासाम्येकान्त विन्यस्ते शयानां शयने शुभे ददर्श रूप संपन्नाम अथतां सकपिश्रियं संपन्नाम अथतां सकपिश्रियं गौरीम. She had a very fair complex. Gaurim. The word Gauri means one who has a fair complex. Kanakavarnabham, golden hue. Ishtam antah pureshwarim. She was the mistress for the whole harem of Ravana. She was the leader. Kapir mandodarim tatra shayanam charurupinim satam drishtva mahabahuhu sasiteti. She must be Sita, like that he thought. Rupa yavvana sampada. He was so happy, and now his nature of a monkey came out because he could not control himself. It was such a situation. And Valmiki Nananda Hariyuthapaha, what did he do? Aspotayamasa. He is clapping. I have found out the purpose of my visit has been fulfilled. Chuchumba Pucham. He took his tail and is kissing it. Chuchumba Pucham. Is kissing it. Chuchumba Pucham. Nananda, Chikrida, Jagau, Jagama. He is jumping. He is going there, here. He could not control himself. Stambhan Arohat. There were many pillars. He is climbing them and falling down. Again he is climbing. This was the nature of Hanuman. Falling down. Again he is climbing. This was the nature of Hanuman. Even that great scholar might be, but his natural tendency came out there. Nidarshayan swam prakritim kapinam. This is the way that Valmiki also in many occasions he shows his sense of humor. And we must note here that all the great rhetoricians, poeticians of our country gave a very high place to humor. You all know Bharata, the author of the Natya Shastra. He was the first man to explain in detail all the important matters of literature. About rasa, about alankara, all factors of poetry had been discussed by Bharata himself for the first time. And there, in the 6th chapter, it is called Rasadhyaya. There we find the description of all the Nava Rasas, the 9 Rasas. The description of all the Nava Rasas, the 9 Rasas. Sringara Hasya Karuna Raudra Veera Bhayanakaha Bibhat Sadbhuta Sanyascha Navanatya Rasasmritaha. Like that it comes. There, after Sringara, the place has been given to Hasya. Sringara, the place has been given to Hasya. And so, Hasya Rasa is one of the most important rasas. In English we have, or in Aristotle's descriptions we have tragedy and comedy. Bharata gives a list of 10 types of dramas. He calls drama Rupaka, and among them Nataka is one. Nataka does not mean drama actually. It is one type of drama. And there Natakam Sapra Vyayoga Samavakaro Vichenkeha Mriga Dasha. These 10 types of dramas have been given. There, first of all, the most important thing is Prahasana. The very word tells us about hasa, about And therefore, in those prahasanas that we have various situations where people have to laugh. So many different situations in society are described there. Usually, in the prahasanas, the actors come from the lower strata of society. And there, they have their conversations, and we find various situations where anyone that knows Sanskrit will have to speak to oneself and laugh. There is one wonderful scene. Brahmin has been taught a couple of shlokas so that he could bless the people in situations like the marriage, upanayana, etc. And also, he has to visit the people where someone has died and therefore he has to console them. Such situations for that also. And there, he had been taught a shloka from the Mahabharata. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuh dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmat apariharyerthe natvam shochitum arhasi. Everyone knows the meaning. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuh. Anyone that is barren, everyone knows the meaning. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuh. Anyone that is barren should die. And it is also promised, dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Even one that is dead will be born again in this world. Punarjanma is accepted in all Indian philosophies. Tasmat, therefore, apariharye arthe. This is an inevitable thing. We might love so many people, but we cannot retain them. Somebody should be dying. That happens. Natvam shochitu marhasi. Therefore, you should not grieve in such situations. This gentleman, he learned those shlokas, but he did not understand the meaning. And there was a marriage. He had to bless the groom. And there, remembering this shloka, he is saying, Janma mritasya cha tasmat apariharyerthe natvam shochitum arhasi. You should not be sorry, fellow. Because this is inevitable. He is marrying on that day. And he is saying this shloka. And in reverse, when his father is dead, at that time he is going and he is saying, Etadrishani karyani sambhaveyuh punah punah. See, all these good things should be happening every day in your house. Situations are described in the prahasanas. And there is one prahasana called Bhagavad Ajukiyam. Bhagavan means, of course, God, and also it means a revered person. Usually sannyasis, they are called. Ajuka means a courtesan. And there in that drama, this sannyasi is very old, and at that time, the god of death, Yama, asks a certain person. One person had to die, and so his prana had to be taken. By mistake, that Yamaduta takes away the life of this sannyasi. He takes there. And at the same time, some other person, he comes and takes away the life of this Ajuka. And that there is this courtesan, a prostitute. And when both of them are taken, Yama is very angry. What nonsense have you done? I asked to to take the life of such and such person, and probably to take the life of such and such person, and probably he was not there, and another person, this sannyasi had gone to his house, you have taken his life, and about Ajuka also, and so immediately take back these lives and keep them, make them alive, and you bring the correct person alive, and you bring the correct persons. And so they come back, and in confusion, they put the Atman of the sannyasin in the Ajuka. And the Ajuka's Atma goes to sannyasi. And then you see the scene in that Ajuka starts speaking to the people. Atman is the only permanent thing in this world. We should not think about the ordinary things in the world. We should always concentrate our minds. This dhyana is the most important. Like that she here and there. His actions are also described. So this is the way that hasya is treated in various prahasanas. And in addition to it, we have works like the Panchatantra. All of you know about the Panchatantra. Vishnu Sharman's Panchatantra. It has various versions also. Anyway, it was the earliest translated Sanskrit work to Persian in the 5th century. Earliest translated Sanskrit work to Persian. In the 5th century itself it was translated. And it went to various countries, even to Europe. The translations of translations went there. We learn. And in the Panchatantra, I would like to draw your attention to one of the stories that is there. There, an old man, he may be about my age, no. and then he marries a young woman. When a young woman marries an old man, she never wants to even to touch him. She keeps away. And then one fine night, not one fine day, one fine night, a robber enters their house. That robber was so, and this woman looks at him. She is so much afraid and comes and hugs her husband so strong. And the husband is, he is feeling so great. And he tells that robber, Mama Mitra, tells that robber, Mama Mitra, Mahachora, Punah Punaha Yaha Ayahi, Mase Punarayahi. My friend, please visit us every month, at least once. Please visit us every month, at least once. My wife, who did not even look at me, is hugging me, and you have given me such a great situation. And therefore, please visit us again and again. You are my best friend, like that he says. And there is another story. There, a couple, a husband and a wife, they are there. And a cheat, a person who deceives all the people, he comes there, and she is so much enamored by him, and therefore they both of them, that man and that wife, that woman, they try to elope. He tells, take all the ornaments in the house, all the golden ornaments, the best clothes, everything you take, come with me. We will cross the river and go to another country, and then there we can be very happy. Go to another country, and then there we can be very happy. Yeah, as in the cinemas at the end, they lived forever happily. Like that we can be. She agrees. And so she packs up everything. And so she packs up everything, all the ornaments, all the money that was there. She wears the best saree, Mysore silk saree. And at night, both of them leave the house and go. Early morning, they have reached the border and there was the river. They had to cross it to go to the other country. And there he said, see, the water is very deep. And if you come with me, if you have to saree, such precious saree will become wet. That is not good. And therefore remove your saree. All these things you give to me. I will first carry them and cross the river. I will keep them there. And then I will come back. I will keep them there. And then I will come back. And I will give you my hand. I will make you cross the river. Then we can go. She, yeah, agrees and gives those things. He carries, gives those things. He carries them, crosses the river, and escapes. As expected, as always, as happens. She is standing there, even without the saree. At that time, there comes a fox. A fox is carrying a piece of flesh in its mouth. It comes there. And at that time, some fish are also jumping in the water of that river. This piece of flesh is mine anyway. Now I should go and catch also those fish. So it will be a fine meal for me. And so it leaves that piece of flesh there on the bank of the river and enters into the water. But that day simply disappeared in the water. They went deep and therefore it could not catch. By that time, an eagle comes there and takes away that meat also, that flesh also, it takes away. Also, that flesh also, it takes away. The fox was very much disappointed, comes out. Now, no fish, no flesh. This woman was observing all those things, standing there. And she laughs at the fox. And she laughs at the fox. Gridhrena apahritam mamsam. Gridhra is the eagle. Gridhrena apahritam mamsam. Mutsyopi sulile gataha. The fish also disappeared in the water. See, Jambuki. Oh, fox, what are you looking at? How foolish you are. You lost both of them. And that fox, I do not know how, had observed everything. And she says, Yadrisham mama pandityam, tadrisham dvigunam tava. And your cleverness is double mine. Yadrisham mama pandityam, tadrisham dvigunam tava. Nasti bharta. You have lost your husband. Nava jaraha. This paramour is also not there. Standing naked and you are laughing at me. What a beautiful situation it is saying. So this was the sense of humor that the writer of the Panchatantra had. Of course, there are many moralistic stories. That is separate. But even the sense of humor was there. Panchatantra, that we should note. And again, in Sanskrit, we have a big treasury of subhashitas. Very fine sayings, witty sayings are there in Sanskrit. And there, not only old, there are also situations where beautiful, humorous situations are also described. First of all, we have a situation where we call it, already Professor Nagarna told about the Anyapade Desha Shataka, which I had written a commentary on. And such a situation here. One is addressing a donkey. Re re rasabha. Addressing a donkey. Re re rasabha. Vastrabhara vahanaihi kugrasa mashnasi kim. Oh donkey, why are you suffering so much carrying all these clothes for the washerman? And you are eating kugrasam, very bad food, street. What should I do then? Raja Shvavasatham Prayahi. You just go to the place where the royal horses are kept. You can enter there. Chanakabhyusham Sukham Bhakshaya, favorite of the horses. And that is made into abhyusha, what is called gugri in Kannada. Chanakabhyusham Sukham Bhakshaya. You can eat it very well. Do they allow me there? Do they consider? Here, now the situation of the government is such that anything that has a tail is considered as a horse. Sarvan puchhavato vadanti turagan atradhikare sthitaha. Puchhavato vadanti turagan atradhikare sthitaha. The officers here consider anything that has a tail as a horse. And Raja Tairupadishtameva Munute. The king is such that whatever they say, that is Veda Vachana for him. So he accepts that. Maunam Shritas Chapare. The others who can understand are there. But they keep silent, they do not say anything. So, this is a description of the present situation also. We may think. That is, each one is very much proud of her husband. My husband is the most clever person in the world. Another says, no, my husband is even cleverer. Kushala khalume bharta. One is saying, my husband is intelligent. Because naitallikhitam parastu vachayati. If he writes something, nobody else in the world can read it. He writes in such a way. Probably he was a doctor. And another woman says, Mayi punaresha vishecha. I have even greater surprise for you. Swayamapi likhitam swayam na vachayati. When my husband writes, even he cannot read. Why others? Nobody can read in this world. Nobody can read in this world. When I was in the Oriental Research Institute as a new entrant, our director was there. He had written some notes and on our applications. Could not read it. We finally went to him, sir, you have made some notes, we could not read it. And he looks at it, he cannot also read. And he himself quoted this Swayamapi likhitam swayam na vachayati. And I talked about doctors, medical doctors. In one village, there was a doctor, his brother was also a doctor, and one day he had to travel to a city. He traveled to a city and is coming back in the evening. And at that time, in the smashana of that village, a pyre is burning. And so he was very much surprised. Chitikam deepikam drishtva vaidyo vismayamagataha. Nahangataha. I did not give medicine to anybody today. Nahangataha. I did not give medicine to anybody today. Navabhratan. My brother also did not give. And still a fire is burning. Kasyedam hastalagavam. Whose intelligence is this? Who is responsible for this? Is this. Who is responsible for this? He is asking. And I quote a situation in Udupi. Last week, I had gone to Udupi to receive Sedi Apo Krishna Bhatta Prasad. I don't say that is the situation now. I should not say that. But once upon a time, what it was, and that situation is described by one of the Sanskrit poets. There are various levels of feeding. The clarified butter, tuppa we call it, that is being served at the time of meals. And how it is served, that poet is describing. Kvachit dhara. In the lines where the Swamiji is also sitting, there, dhara, streams of that is being given. Kvachit binduhu. Next situation is there. There only drops of the ghrita is given. Kvachita chamasa shabdanam. There they are serving, the vessel is there and they have a spoon. With that they make the sound and go. Nothing falls. And finally there are some lines. Kvachitcha shruyate varta. Oh, that is being served, that is being served, that is being served. Such rumor is heard. Kvachit sapi vinashyati. Even that rumor of the ghrita being served is not heard in many places. This is the situation. And not restrict themselves only to human beings. They made fun of even gods. This is a situation where Vishnu wanted to visit Shiva on the Himalaya Parvata. As you all know, Shiva is that he is all in all, and therefore even the directions, they should be considered as his clothes. Ambara is a cloth. So that Digambara, like that is there. And so in the Digambara pose, like our Gomateshwara in Digambara pose, like our Gomateshwara in Shravanabelagala, Shiva was doing his tapas. At that time, Vishnu decided to visit him. That news was given by phone, probably mobile. No,
Wireless.
by phone, probably mobile. No,
Wireless.
and when Vishnu is coming, in our own house we can stay in any condition, but when somebody is coming, we have to look presentable. And therefore, immediately what happened? Nishamya sahasa kritva phanindram gunam. The Shiva wanted to make himself presentable, and therefore Phanindra means the snake. He uses his snakes, as ornaments. He took one of those snakes and making it a belt.
Right.
He put the waist and Gaja Charmambara, and therefore he tied it. And he is coming out. And Vishnu is arriving. But when Vishnu arrives, he comes on Garuda. And Dishpa Vishnu Ratham, seeing the Vishnu Ratha, Sarpo Vishad Bhutale, that belt, that snake was so much afraid. It got loosened and went and hit in one of the holes there. And Kritir Viskalita, that charma fell down. Kritir Viskalita, that charma fell down. What should be the situation of both Shiva and Vishnu? That Dharma Darshana was there. And therefore, Nagna Shivaha Patuvaha. May that naked Shiva, Nagna Shivaha Patuvaha. May that naked Shiva bless all of you. Like that, the poet ends. And I come again to the Ramayana. There, This is not in the Valmiki's Ramayana. Later, some poet there, Rama has left Ayodhya. He lives in the city of Guha for one night. And then next he crosses Ganga and goes to the forest. That is the situation. There, this Guha starts washing his feet. My friend, I am going to the forest anyway. Why should you take all this trouble of washing my feet, he says. And Guha says, Kshalayami tava pada pankajam Natha danushi karana churnamastite Padayoriti katha prathiyasi. Kshalayami tava pada pankajam. I am washing your lotus feet, my Lord, because I have heard the story. Your pada made even a rock into a woman. And therefore, if you keep your feet on the boat, it may turn into a woman. But I need the boat every day to cross the river. Therefore, first I will clean your feet so that there will be no dust on that which may fall on the boat and convert it into a woman. Manushi karana churnamastite padayoho. Iti katha, this katha is well known. Padayoho. Iti katha, this katha is well known. And therefore, sir, I am washing your feet. See the beauty of that poem, how chamatkara, as we say, how it comes there.
Reference to Ahalya.
Yes, yes. And yes. And this is also, this has been taken further by some other poets. In that poem, many people are carrying various sizes of, just as it is happening now. Every day we are reading in the newspapers that suitable boys are not getting any girls to marry. Yesterday just I read in the matrimonial problems in the grooms. But now it has, yes, it is the reverse. Now men cannot find women to marry. Probably that was the situation at that time, at the time of Rama. Many boys could not get proper girls to marry. Various sizes, and coming to Rama. Why are you coming, fellows? He is asking, sir, we want you to touch these stones and turn them into women so that... So I want a fat girl, and therefore he has brought a fat kind of stone he has brought. A line of people with all these stones is coming to Rama. Why did I actually touch that stone and convert it into Ahalya? He is worried. This situation is described by one of the poets. The people who marry, they have a very fine time in the house of the father-in-law for some time. Everybody wants to enjoy that all that hospitality. Everybody wants to enjoy that all that hospitality. And how long it lasts is the main question. Shvashura Griha Nivasaha. Shvashura means father-in-law. In Hindi it is made into Sasur. Shvashura Griha Nivasaha into Sasur. Shvashura Griha Nivasaha Swargatulyo Naranam. Yadi vasati dinani trini pancha atha sapta, maximum 7 days. Until that time, dadhi madhu ghrita dhara tadupari dinam ekam padaraksha prahara. And in Sanskrit we have various works which are called Vidambana, satire. 16th century, he has written Kali Vidambana Shataka, 100 verses marking at the people. There, one or two I will quote for your humor. There are various astrologers, such great astrologers, Jyotish Shastra Bhaskara, Jyotish Shastra Pandita, etc. How much they know? Varan Kechit. Some of them are so well learned. They know the names of all these 7 days. They know the names of all these 7 days of the week. Grahan Kechit. Even greater Pandits, if they know 7 days, they know 9 grahas. They can name all the 9 Navagrahas. Kechit Rikshani Janate. There are some others who know all the 27 nakshatras, Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, Rohini, Mrigashira, all the 20, so 9 into 3. Tritayam ye vijananti, te vachaspataya swayam. Grahas and also these nakshatras, they are considered as vachaspatis, brihaspatis in this country. They are very intelligent, very, very clever, these people, the astrologers. When the people come to a child that is going to be born, a boy or a girl, that is the, nowadays it is different matter. Yeah, but in those days, until the birth of a child, one would not know. And so they were very curious and asking. And so what does this astrologer do? Putra is asking. And so what does this astrologer do? Putra ityeva pitari. When the father asks, he says, Putraha, a boy is going to be born. Kanyaka ityeva matari. But when the mother is asking, he answers Kanyaka. Mother is asking, he answers Kanyaka, a girl. Garbha prasneshu kathayanna daivagno vijayi bhavet. After the child is born, my dear lady, I told you like that, but actually your husband, a son, and so I had told the truth to him. You can ask. And the reverse. Ayuh prashne dirghamaayuhu vachyam muhurtikair janai. Every person in this world, nobody, even though we speak on the lips that I am tired, I want to go, etc. Everyone wants to live very long. And therefore, even those that say that do not believe in astrology, etc., secretly they go to some astrologer and ask how long I am going to live. At such times, ayuh prasneshu, dirghamayuhu vachyam muhurtikai janai. For anybody that comes, you will live for 100 years. You have a dirghayus. Like that one should say, the astrologer. Because, like that one should say, the astrologer. Because, jivanto bahumanyante. Suppose he lives long. He gives great bahumana to the astrologer. You gave me so much confidence, I am living. And mrutaha prakshantikam, so much confidence, I am living. And mrutaha prakshantikam punaha, if he dies, who is going to ask you? He will not be there. When it is said, the astrologer should say, but don't reveal this to others. so that he reveal this to others. so that he is. You see, somebody has come and asked, is it going to be a boy or a girl? I will write it in a paper. You can keep it. I will write it in a paper. You can keep it and check it after the boy is born, whether I have said right or wrong. Okay, they said, to test that astrologer. He wrote something. and it was kept in secretly. After they go and see it, what he has written? He has written, Putro na Putri. So if it is a Putri, Putro na Putri, I have written. Or Putro na Putri. You can write this way. You can express are thriving in our society. And about the doctors, medical doctors, Yatkinchit aushadham dadyat. You can give any medicine to any patient, no problem. The only thing is, patyanto katinam vadet. You have to put the conditions. You should not eat that, you should not eat this, you should not even smell these things, that kind of conditions. Arogyam vaidya mahatmyat. Suppose he gets health. Then, suppose he gets health. Then, that is the greatness of my medicine, he can say. Anyathatvam apathyata. See, the medicine was fine. What could I do? You have done apathya. You have gone against that. You have gone against that. One of the doctors, when the patient came, he said, I am going to give this medicine to you on account of the necessity to be added to the medicine. It was essential according to the Shastra. And the condition is, when you take this medicine, when you consume it, you should not think of a frog. If you think told this to otherwise, if you had given, why does a patient think of a frog at the time of taking it? But when it is said that a part of the frog has gone into it and you should not forget, that is the way how the medical persons, these doctors, save themselves. A person has visited a village. A person has visited a village and he is speaking with a villager. He is asking him, Grameshmin Sakhe Mahan Kathaya Kaha. My friend, who is a great man? Who there man is not in Sanskrit. The word Mahan, it is in masculine gender. You need not put the word man. Who is Mahan here? He is asking. And that villager is answering, Taladrumanam Ganaha, the grove of the Tala trees. That has grown very much. It is really very big. It is really very great. You see. That is not what I meant, man. Ko data. Is there anyone that can give something? That is what I am asking. Ko data. Dadati vasanam pratar grihitva nishi. In the morning he takes the clothes and in the evening he gives to everybody. That is the only person that gives anything in this village. There is nobody else. Ko dakshaha. Who is competent here? Aradara vittaharane sarvopi dakshojana. In kidnapping others' wives and in looting the money of the other people, everyone in our village is daksha, is competent. Kasmat jivasi hesi. If that is the situation, my friend, he says, Vishakrimin nyayena jivamyaham. See, Vishakrimis, the worms in the poison, they live in the poison itself. Like that, I am also living here. And finally, the last piece. One sannyasi, one great Swami of a Matha, he had contacts with a widow. He had contacts with a widow of all the people. Due to the pressure of the body, he had such contact. He really was not approving his own conduct. Anyway, that woman asked, he is leaving, at that time that woman asked him, Avayo Sangamo Natha Punah Kutra Bhavishyati. Sir, when are we going to meet each other? He cracked his head and finally said, Dharmashastram Pramananchet Kumbhi Pake Bhavishyati. See, if what they say in the Dharmashastras is true, both of us will meet in the hell called Kumbhi Paka. That is the only place where we are. Friends, I do not know how much time I took. No? See, about the sons-in-law he is asking. Planets here, that is nine about Namas Suryaya, Chandraya, Mangalaya, Budhaya, cha, Guru Shukra, Shanibhyascha, Rahave, Ketave Namaha. They are there, these grahas. They have a nature. Sometimes they have Vakragati, sometimes they have Neragati is here. And so sometimes they will be appearing as coming near the earth. And sometimes they are moving away because of the change of speed on their orbits. That is how it is. So sometimes they are Vakra. Sometimes they are described as cruel. Sometimes they are described as Krura, very cruel to a particular person. Sometimes Saumya. They have to be worshipped at particular times. This year, the solar eclipse is this year, the solar eclipse is happening in Kanya Rashi. Therefore, those that belong to the Kanya Rashi have to worship this Rahu, like that they say. But apart from these 9 grahas, there is the 10th graha called son-in-law. This has very special characters. Sada Vakraha. This has no Neragati, it is always Vakragati only. Sada Kruraha. Sada times you have to make the worship. Whenever he comes, whenever he is, you have to do the... And you see, those Rashi, those grahas stay in... There are Dwadasha Rashis, 12 Rashis, and they are changing the Rashis. But this graha, Kanya Rashi Sthito Nityam. Always Jamata Dashamagraha. Like this Jamata is the 10th graha who has a very special character. Thank you very much.
ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಆದರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ವಿಶ್ರಾಂತಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ನಾವು ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳೇನಾದ್ರು ಇದ್ರೆ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಒಂದು 10-15 ನಿಮಿಷ. ಹೌದಾ ಸರ್? 10 minutes. ಒಂದು 10-15 ನಿಮಿಷ. ಹೌದಾ ಸರ್? 10 minutes. 12:15. Right. Any questions from the audience?
Yes, sir.
ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಬರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ?
ಏನಾದರೂ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಇದುವರೆಗಾಗಲೇ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಬರೀನು. ಅದು ಅಷ್ಟು ಸುಲಭವಾದ ಕೆಲಸವಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಕನ್ನಡ ಆಗಲಿ, ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಆಗಲಿ, ಹಿಂದಿ ಆಗಲಿ, ಅದರಿಂದ ಏನಾದರೂ ಉದ್ಯೋಗ ಸಿಗೋ ಹಾಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಲೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕಲಿಬೇಕು ಅಂಬುತ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುವಂಥವ್ರು ಭಾಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ.
ಮೈಸೂರು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಡ್ಮಿಷನ್ನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಪೇಪರಲ್ಲಿ.
ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರೂ ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್ ಟೀಚರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇವಾಗ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರೀ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಲೆಕ್ಚರರ್ಸ್ ಒಂದಿಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮಹಾರಾಜಾಸ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ನಲ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಗಂಗೋತ್ರಿ ಒಳಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅದಿದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯ ಸಂತೋಷ ಪಡಬೇಕಾದ್ದಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ 6 ತಿಂಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ. ವಿಶ್ವಮೈತ್ರಿ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಅದು. ಅವತ್ತಿನ ದಿವಸ ಅವರು ಪಿ ಯು ಸಿ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ SSLC ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ 100ಕ್ಕೆ 100 ಅಂಕಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಂಥ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳನ್ನು ಕರೆಸಿ ಅವರಿಗೂ ಸನ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅವರು 200 ಜನ ಇದ್ದರು. ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 200 ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹೂ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಸ್ಕೋರ್ಡ್ 100 ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ 100 ಇನ್ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಕೆಲವು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಓದ್ತಾರೆ ಎಂಬುದು. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾನೊಂದು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಓದ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗ ನಮಗೇನಂದರೆ 70-75 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಬಂದರೆ ಅದೇ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಿದ್ವು. ಈಗ 70 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ನಾನು SLC ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಆ ಟೈಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ, ಈಗ 100ಕ್ಕೆ 100 ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಭೆಗೆ ಬಂದಿರೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ, ಇನ್ನೆಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೋ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಹಾಗಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಇವಾಗ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ರೀತಿಯೇ ಬದಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಉತ್ತರ ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವರೇ 4 ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾವ ಉತ್ತರ ಅಂತ ಜ್ಞಾಪಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಟಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಾಯ್ತು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಇವಾಗಿನ ಕಾಲದ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್. ಬೇರೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್. ಸರ್, ನನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಇದೇ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಯನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಅವಾಗ ಇನ್ನೂ ಈ ಓಪನ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಮೈಸೂರು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು MA ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಗೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಧ್ಯಾಪಕರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಮಯಾ ಸರ್ವೇ ಪ್ರಶ್ನಾಃ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಭಾಷಾಯಾಂ ಉತ್ತರಾಣಿ ಲಿಖ್ಯಂತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ತಪ್ಪೋಗುತ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಶುಡ್ ರೈಟ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್, ಯುಲ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ವೇ ಅಂತ. ಆಗ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಅಹಂ ಪ್ರಥಮಂ ಸ್ಥಾನಂ ನಾಪೇಕ್ಷೆ, ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಭಾಷಾಯಾಃ ಪರೀಕ್ಷಾಯಾಂ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತೆ ಏವ ಲೇಖಿತವ್ಯಂ ಇತಿ ಮಮ ನಿಶ್ಚಯಃ. ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತೆ ಏವ ಲೇಖಿತವ್ಯಂ ಇತಿ ಮಮ ನಿಶ್ಚಯಃ. ಆಂಗ್ಲ ಭಾಷಾಯಾಃ, ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ಗಳಿಬ್ಬರು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತರ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ನೀವೇನಾದರೂ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಮತ್ತು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಹಾಗೆ? ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಭಾಷಾಯಾಃ ಪರೀಕ್ಷಾಯಾಂ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಭಾಷಾಯಾಂ ಉತ್ತರಾಣಿ ಲೇಖಿತವ್ಯಾನಿ. ಹಿಂದಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಬರೀತಾರೆ, ಉರ್ದು ಒಳಗೆ. ಅದು ನೋಡಿ, ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತವನ್ನು ಯಾತಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಓದಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ವಾಲ್ಮೀಕಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ. ವಾಲ್ಮೀಕಿಯ ಮಾತುಗಳು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಎಂಬುದು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಬೇಕೇ ಹೊರತು ಅನುವಾದಗಳು ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟಿವೆ. ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ನಲ್ಲೇ ವಾಲ್ಮೀಕಿ ರಾಮಾಯಣದ್ದು ಪೊಯೆಟಿಕ್ಕಾಗೂ ಒಂದು ಪದ್ಯ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ಅನುವಾದ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಗದ್ಯ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲೂ ಅನುವಾದ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ವಾಲ್ಮೀಕಿ ಬರೆದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪದಕ್ಕೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬೆಲೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಅನುವಾದದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬೆಲೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಅನುವಾದದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯ ಒಂದು ಪದ್ಯ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯ ಪದ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮೂಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಬೇಕು. ಆ ಒಂದು ದಿ ಸೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಬ್ದ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬೆಲೆ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬೆಲೆ ಅದು ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಚೆಕ್ ಬರೀತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ನಾನು ಆ ಚೆಕ್ಕನ್ನು ಬರೆದು 1 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕದ್ದು ನಾಗಣ್ಣನವರಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಡೇಟು ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದನ್ನು ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, 1 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೇನು ಬೆಲೆ? ಇದು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿಲ್ವೇ? ಡೇಟ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿದೆ, ಸಿಗ್ನೇಚರ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿದೆ, ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಎಂಬುದಿದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟು ಎಂಬುದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಪದಗಳು ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಉಚ್ಚರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಲೆಯೇ ಹೊರತು ಅದೇ ಅರ್ಥ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಭಾಷೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಬರಿತೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಬೆಲೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತವನ್ನು ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ್, ನೀಡ್ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ್.
ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇದೆ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಭಾಷಾ ವ್ಯಾಮೋಹ ಹೊರತು ದುರಭಿಮಾನವೇ ಹೊರತು ಕಲಿಕೆಯ ಅನ್ವೇಷಣ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅನ್ವೇಷಣ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಏನಿದೆ? ನೀವು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ವಿಷಯ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಿ.
ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಅವರ ಭಾಷೆಯನ್ನ ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಪ್ರೀತಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೊರಗಿಂದ ಬರಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಸಂಕೋಲೆಗಳಿಂದ
ಆದರೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯ ಇದೆ. ಋಗ್ವೇದದಲ್ಲೇ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆನೋ ಭದ್ರಾ ಕ್ರತವೋ ಎಂತು ವಿಶ್ವತಃ. ನಮಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ವಿಚಾರಗಳು ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದಲೂ ಬರಲಿ ಅಂತಿದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈಗ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಿನ ವಿಷಯ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳೋಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ನಿಂದ ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಇಸ್ರೋ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, ಅದರಿಂದ ಆಕಾಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃತಕ ಉಪಗ್ರಹವನ್ನು ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡೋದು, ಅಲ್ಲೇ